Welcome to a special RAF 100 edition of the Forces Sports Show. The 100th anniversary of the Royal Air Force has brought out the best in its sportsmen and women, and we're celebrating the moments that have meant so much to them.
It's been a magnificent year so far. We still have half of it to go, of course, with greater success to come still further. But as a medium to celebrate, commemorate and inspire the RAF's 100th anniversary, sport has been proved to be the perfect medium for that, in terms of generating success through the X factor that the RAF 100 celebrations have brought. Success in terms of victories on the sports field, in terms of levels of participation, in terms of profile of Royal Air Force sport, including women's sport, our elite athletes down to grassroots development. It's really been a magnificent year so far.
One of the biggest successes came on the rugby field for the RAF men's team. They saw off strong Army and Navy sides to win the Inter-Services Championship. Victory over the Army in early April set the stage for a clash with the Navy at the Twickenham Stoop, and the airmen didn't disappoint.
For so long seen by many as the warm-up act ahead of the Army-Navy showdown at Twickenham, the RAF went into this clash favourites to win just their second Inter-Services title in 24 years. A penalty to the posts was just the tonic they needed to calm the nerves with so much at stake. Fly half Andy Byrne maintained his form with the boot to put the Light Blues 3-0 up. A second Byrne penalty doubled the lead before the senior service hit back. Some slick handling saw Navy wing Eldon Myers scoot in for a converted try, and the Dark Blues nipped in front 7 points to 6. The old sporting phrase about teams being vulnerable just after scoring unfortunately materialised for the Navy. Minutes after taking the lead, they found themselves behind as Bryce Norton-based Lloyd Owen pirouetted his way past would-be defenders to dance in for a converted try. Back came the Dark Blues as the fixture ramped its way up to becoming an Inter-Services classic. As the Navy made several surges towards the airmen's line, eventually it was Ratu Vakalu Takali who squeezed over for his side's second converted try and a 14 points to 13 lead. However, the Navy again slipped into that switched-off state of mind that follows scoring because the airmen struck again. This time it was fullback Sam Randall who gave Greg Lloydell the slip to dash home for the try. An absorbing first half concluded as it began, Byrne converting a penalty as the Air Force stretched their lead 21 points to 14. Desperate to get back into the contest, the Navy came out all guns blazing. Gareth Rees saw a chance to snatch a try early in the second half, and despite taking a knock for his efforts, it was his converted score that cancelled out the airmen's advantage. Slowly but surely, the Air Force began to turn the screw. A succession of scrums close to the Navy line put the Dark Blues under enormous pressure. As the scrum collapsed once more, the Navy were penalised and Harry Robbins was sent to the bin. Despite being down a player, the senior service initially repelled the Air Force onslaught, but the Light Blues continued to push for the try. Eventually, the robust Rob Bell broke through the Navy defence for the try. Byrne added another penalty to put the Air Force 2 scores in front to lead by 10 points at 31-21. With time slipping away, the Navy looked to narrow the gap once more, but a routine chance went begging. From the subsequent scrum, the airmen just had to keep possession and put the ball into touch. That they did, and the title was theirs.
I'm really proud. I'm proud of, yes, I put the plan together, but I'm very proud of all the guys. I really am. And this is, this is a sort of testament to where we are.
I've played a lot of rugby and played in a lot of games, and this is pretty much the pinnacle of what I feel I've achieved. It is an absolute privilege to represent the Air Force and that group of blokes out there.
Rugby union is in rude health in the Royal Air Force. It's come from strength to strength, from being the whipping boys and girls of inter-services rugby not that many years ago. Here we are, the men are inter-service champions for the second time in 3 years after many months and years of hard effort. And I think that for it to happen this year, through the RF 100 X Factor, lends it that extra level of significance.
Lord's Cricket Ground provided a big stage for the RAF men to take a big victory in the Inter-Services T20. A resounding win in the first match of the day against the Navy set them up for a title decider against the Army. The RAF, buoyed by their decisive victory over the Navy, were happy to bat first on a good wicket in the best conditions of the day. And openers Rob Diver and Tom Shorthouse put on 40 in the first 6 overs before Shorthouse was caught behind by Connor Reid from Denison Narayan's delivery. Diver was bowled for 35 by Narayan, with the RAF then on 67 for 2, and that became 74 for 3, with Fisher brilliantly caught in the gully. Andy McGeorge then came to the crease, and his innings of 40, supported by Ash Watson, proved absolutely crucial, which included 15 off the penultimate over of the innings. The RAF's total of 147 for 6 looked a good one to defend, but the Army had the talent to claim their 6th successive title, and opener Jordan Ralph made a good start with 8 off the first over, the required run rate. But he fell on 20 LBW bowled by Watson, heading for his second 4-wicket haul of the tournament. And when fellow opener Graham Wiseman was dismissed 4 runs later and Liam Fletcher LBW from the next ball, the Army were in trouble on 24 for 3. After that 3rd wicket, the RAF bowling and fielding dominated. The Army never able to get on top as they fell behind on the run rate. Despite the best efforts of captain Jay Boynton and Tade Carmichael, the bowling of Watson, Shorthouse, Tom Fairclough and Ian Sinclair was outstanding, as was the fielding effort. Surely it was all over, 73 needed from 24 balls, and despite their best efforts, there was to be no Army sensational ending. They finished just over the 100 mark.
Yes! I think we deserved it on the balance. I thought the lads executed the match plans absolutely perfectly, so I'm really happy with them. They've worked hard, and yeah, superb.
The Inter-Services T20 victory at Lord's was especially impressive. A fantastic all-round performance, not just individual athletes, but how they gelled together as a team under some superb captaincy to outthink the opposition.
The centenary year has seen their boxers make big strides in the ring. So often the third wheel, while the Army and Navy fighters took the honours, this year the Airmen claimed significant victories at the Inter-Services Championships. The biggest challenge the RAF faces in boxing is the Navy and Army are full-time athletes, whereas the Light Blues pride themselves on being part-time, training for a few weeks before major events like this. It set them at a clear disadvantage here, but meant getting 3 into the Forces finals was in itself a major achievement.
The team that we've put in today has been the amalgam of 10 years of effort and development with our coaching strands, and yeah, the boys have done us proud tonight and boxed exceptionally well, and we were unlucky to have only 2 out of the 3 go through.
The first of the RAF boxers to impress was Ricky Lyon at bantamweight up against the Navy's Raheen Ali. Lyon won the 56-kilo UK Forces title in 2015 and looked impressive here, claiming his 21st win by unanimous point score.
That's 3 of us, and that's not happened for a long time. And then through to the ABAs now, Nationals, which is what I wanted to do the most.
So RAF boxing on its way back?
Yeah, surely is.
That also goes for Forces lightweight champion Kieran Bailey. Like Lyon, based at Waddington, Bailey, a former junior ABA semi-finalist, was up against the Navy's Bradley Chapman, himself an Eastern Counties champion. Bailey taking the title on a judges' split decision after making his opponent take a standing count.
Do you know what? If I didn't get that standing count, could have gone either way, to be fair. It was probably one of the hardest fights I've ever had, if not the hardest fight.
That third fighter at welterweight was Tom Simpson, based at Northolt, who has reached a previous ABA semi-finals. The Navy's Luke Fisher was only just the stronger man, Simpson losing out on a split verdict from the judges. How much do you think this is going to help to, generate even more interest in boxing in the RAF? Because you really could, you need to have more people here, don't you?
Definitely so. I think the robustness and resilience that we're going through in the Air Force and the drive to give our young men and women a challenge that's safe, but also tests you in the ultimate fighting arena. It doesn't do us any harm at all to have success at this level. And again, we'll push hard and work hard to make sure next year's we build on the success, and next year we're challenging for the title.
For so long, inter-services boxing's always been about Army versus Navy. The Navy won the championship for the first time in many years this year. But the rise of RAF boxing as well must be something that pleases you, because it's now made boxing a truly tri-service event.
It has, and speaking at the UK Armed Forces level, what we all want to see is a good, exciting three-way contest. Yes, we want the Air Force to win, but we want the contest to be good, because that breeds confidence, it breeds ethos, but it also inspires and more people to take part in that particular sport. What we saw with rugby over a 5-year period, from whipping boys and girls to inter-service champions, we're seeing in other sports, and that's fantastic. You mentioned boxing. There's other sports similarly where it's becoming the playing field is becoming much more level, and that's true with the Army and Navy, where the Air Force have dominated. It's nice to win, but you don't want to be really, oh, here we go again for the 20-odd year. You want a good, hard-fought contest, at the end of which you win, of course.
RAF success hasn't just been restricted to inter-services sport. In May, a group of runners embarked on a 10-kilometre baton relay marathon to mark the service's centenary. The challenge lasted for more than 64 hours, but ended with a world record. For 2.5 days, a succession of airmen and women kept the baton moving around the Cosford track, many having travelled hundreds of miles to get here to take part in the record attempt. Runner number 86, PTI Warren Lewis, handed over the baton to Ian Tuckwell, completing his leg in just over 37 minutes.
I mean, there's been a lot of opportunities this year with several different initiatives going on for the RAF 100, so to see something like this kind of piqued my interest personally. So yeah, again, just kind of really happy to manage to be a part of the 100 runners.
It was during the darker hours where this challenge really tested the mettle of the runners. Cameras dotted about the track and meticulous record keeping vital to supply the evidence to Guinness to ratify the record. It's been a mammoth effort from everyone to get this record attempt on track.
When we planned it initially, we asked to just try and find out how many people we could get around the previous average of 41.28. We had a fair few people who would love to take part, as you can imagine. We didn't believe in our wildest dreams that we'd get this far.
Top runners like Ben Livesey were keen to put in their best runs. Ben was aiming to topple the fastest time set by Sam Mitchell of 31 minutes 54 seconds. He came in just 20 seconds short. And it was fitting that the man who's coordinated the attempt from start to finish should cross the line.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's still, don't know what time it is right now, so it's really early, but just having a great crowd down here. It's just nice to come home to that, really, to come home to the cheers, but also know that it's the end of hours or days of hard work from 100 hard-working athletes.
A fantastic result. I mean, to not only beat the world record, but to completely smash it by 4 hours, that's a remarkable achievement, both individually as a team and indeed the organisers of it. The baton relay we've had this year, the RAF baton going around all corners of the United Kingdom, by sea, by air, on the road, on bicycles, on power kites, climbing mountains. It's been everywhere, and to culminate on the 10th of July, handing over in London, was absolutely superb.
We've looked at some of the major successes for the RAF so far this year, but in all corners of the sporting arena, the RAF's men and women have produced some outstanding results.
The inter-services hockey this year, where the RAF were utterly dominant.
A lot of the success Russ achieved without some of your elite athletes as well, which makes the team performance stand out even more.
That's very true. I mean, with the hockey, for example, we achieved fantastic success. Our elite athletes have come to the fore in other competitions, rugby union, for example, Josh McNally. And what a great story that is this year, for having been playing at elite level and developing quite a serious medical condition, to overcome that and then come out and inspire the rest of the team to the inter-services victory this year. It's been a superb all-round performance.
You mentioned the women.
Yes.
Pick out your alpine skiers, for example, the first time ever winning the downhill, which is a huge achievement in itself.
It is. It's one of a number of sports this year that have provided highlights. So far, skiing, as you mentioned earlier this year, a superb performance from the men and the women. Once again, to dominate the inter-services on skis and snowboards in Maribel earlier this year. And we hopefully will be repeating that again in the future.
The swimmers were in Services Championships very recently, dominated by the Royal Navy over the last 30 years, and only twice now have they been beaten, and this year the RAF men did the job once more.
Yeah, a great performance by everybody concerned. But not just the athletes, of course, but those who work so hard behind the scenes, via the coaches, the captains, the committees that make all this possible. Of course, yes, it's about the history, but it's also about leaving a legacy. For RAF sport itself, success has not just been about victory on the sports field, it's about greater numbers participating in the sport as an inspiration to give that particular sport a go. And that grassroots development, which has enhanced the participation levels in sport, and that's what we want everybody out playing sport. It's not just about winning, although that is nice, it's about people out there participating in it. So it's the legacy for RAF sport, it's the legacy for the Royal Air Force as well, sport being that medium to engage with the public, both nationally and internationally, as a fantastic unifying force. The Air Force in the public eye very much this year, and sport has played a key role in that.
And how they've seized the moment. The RAF sportsmen and women have punched above their weight for 100 years, despite having fewer numbers than their rivals. And the centenary seems to have inspired them to even greater heights.
Sport has played a crucial role in enhancing operational efficiency in the Royal Air Force throughout its 100-year anniversary, from the skies and the fields of the First World War through to the modern day. It develops qualities in our people that prove invaluable in those operational circumstances. That's why we do it. But of course it also happens to be great fun, and it's a fantastic medium to engage with the public, for recruiting and retention, and it's a great leveller. There's few other activities that it doesn't matter what rank you are, what gender you are, what ethnicity you are, or even ability you are. There's something for everybody in sport in the UK Armed Forces.